Asa McGillian, MD of Appear. We're going to talk to you today about Lumi Aluminium.
Hi Chris, good to see you again.
Good to see you. It's an interesting one, this, because Appear has been very much a company that's well known for residential doors. And you launched Lumi, I think, what, 2015?
2015, yeah.
And that's a big departure, really, from the door manufacturer. Can you tell us a bit about why and how it began?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting story. We launched our first range of modern doors, which we called, fantastic name, Modo, in 2013 at the Fit Show. And the Modo range of doors was sold at a premium price to probably a different market from us. And it sold very well and still continues to sell very well to this day. And what Modo sort of had shown me was there was an appetite for higher end products in the market. And it was after a couple of months of sales, I started to realize that each Modo door was potentially a lost sale of a house full of windows. They were primarily going into new builds and extensions. And that's really where the first gestation of Lumi came from. We played around with quite a few different materials. We looked at a couple of different concepts. And it was in about 2014 that we started really committing to, pre-prototype trials.
But I mean, what actually motivated? Because it's very different from anything else and the construction and everything. So what sort of brought Lumi to, I don't know, your consciousness, if you like?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was talking to a neighbor of mine and he was very pleased with his brand new windows. And great guy. He had white PVC double glazed windows put in. And that was about 1 year before we came up with Lumi. And I kept thinking, is that really the pinnacle of PVC or window manufacturing? And they were lovely windows, don't get me wrong. I just felt I could do better. And we've always tried to be unique, try to be creative. And we kept trying to think about how we could incorporate the glass and the strength of the glass into the frame of the window. And how we could just do things different. And I think the style element was one of the big things that drove me to it. But we did the first concept in 2014, and it was a wooden framed window with a black framed piece of glass over it. And the first comment I got from somebody was, "It looks like a microwave." So it was thankfully I have thick skin, so we carried on, and that was genuinely what it looked like, a big microwave. But we refined the design. We went through many different prototypes, but we knew we had something. The iPhone and the iPad was also a source of inspiration. Clean glass lines, nice, nice design. That would be the inspiration, I think, from it, which was, windows could be better, and I like what these guys have done with iPads and iPhones.
I mean, how's it developed since that time, since launching it in sort of 2014, 2015? Has it developed during the last 5-6 years?
Massively. I mean, we never stopped developing. We launched in 2015. We went into manufacturing in 2016 with a passive house window for talk's sake. It had a 50mm triple glazed unit. It had insulated frames. It was the be all and end all of windows. But to be honest, it really was suited only to new self-builds and new builds, large one-off houses. And it was on the higher price point. And it did sell well for us, and it still continues to sell well, but it would never be a mass market product. And it was also designed to do large spans of glass. So we still sell the original, we call it the Lumi 3, the original, it's a passive house product, to pretty much self-builders, UK and Ireland. But we also recognize that our market and the Appear customers are in replacement. And we knew we needed a replacement version of the window. And so we launched the Lumi 2 double glazed window in 2017, I believe, at the Fit Show as well. And that was a 70mm double glazed version of the window. So again, it's continuing to sell, it's selling well. We've launched another lift and slide, and we launched that in 2018. A roof light in 2019, and for obviously 2020 we didn't launch anything for various reasons, but we had a little bump in the road, and I suppose that's where the evolution of the system has been. We really do have a window now for pretty much replacement, for extensions, and for new builds.
But you're now moving it towards aluminium.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the reasoning for that?
To be honest, at the very start, we really considered aluminium as one of the original profile materials. We went with fiberglass because we felt it was new, it had a better U value. In hindsight, possibly should have went with aluminium from the start. We didn't see, I didn't see the aluminium market taking off the way it has. I mean, it's certainly been probably the fastest growing part of the window market over the last few years. And we recognized over 2 years ago that we needed to have a product that would fit into the demand for aluminium, but also still had our unique Lumi look to it.
But I mean, the sliding doors and things all had aluminium anyway, didn't they?
They did.
From the start.
They did. I mean, the aluminium, the main reason, I have to say, the main driver for aluminium for the lift and slide door would have been the cost of tooling. So aluminium tooling would be more cost effective for a low run product. We would not sell as many lift and slides as we would sell windows. But however, what we did find is, because we had been developing aluminium for about 3-4 years now, is the isolators and the thermal breaks have got so much better than when we first looked at it. So the technology to reduce keep the U value in aluminium low has really moved on. And that's why over time we went, well, now this is a product we can definitely work with. And it is a product we can get an excellent U value with just by changing the isolators, the thermal breaks, and insulating them. So that's really been the driver of the shift to aluminium from fiberglass.
I mean, does this affect the people that you've got fitting windows? Are they going to suddenly say, hold on a minute, we're used to fitting the Lumi PVC U, and now suddenly it's aluminium, we've got to change what we do? I'm both in fabrication, presumably, and in fitting.
Well, from a fabrication perspective, to be honest, aluminium's a dream compared to fiberglass. So fiberglass is a great product, it's exceptionally strong, it's got a good U value, it's murder of machines because it's such a high glass content. It shreds machines, honestly. So from a fabrication perspective, it's a dream for us because it goes through all our saws, goes through all our machining centers, no problem. From a fitting perspective, I wouldn't see any different fitting techniques needed from an aluminium window to a PVC framed window. It's very, very similar. If anything, the new system is lighter and it's easier to install compared to the old one.
That's interesting. I mean, I suppose because the original one was still very rigid, wasn't it?
Was.
Because of the way that you'd got the glass.
Yes.
So it wasn't like a normal PVCU frame that would be a little bit floppy. I mean, it was always very rigid, wasn't it?
It's exceptionally stiff, very strong. The outer frame was exceptionally rigid, as you said. I mean, there was no squeezing it in. If it didn't fit, you were taking the block hammer out and getting it to fit. But the sashes also were exceptionally strong, square. Because we bombed the glass to the frame, you're really using the mechanical strength of glass as well as the frame to give you that very, very rigid structure. But on the new aluminium window, we certainly have got an exceptionally strong window again. I mean, there's not much given it either. It's exceptionally strong. And again, because we bond the glass to the sash and the dummy sash, we get exceptionally strong units and vents out of that as well.
I mean, I got to admit that I thought originally that Lumi was aluminium because it had that kind of aluminium look.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just me being a bit ignorant, but it had that look and it made you think it was aluminium.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Most people thought it was aluminium, the original and even the PVC version, because we foiled it with smooth, matte foils. We did try to copy the aluminium look. So most people genuinely thought Lumi was aluminium from the start. And we still to this day, a lot of people think it is aluminium.
But actually now moving into aluminium, presumably does this move the price point? Because it's an expensive product anyway. It is an upmarket product that you fully admit.
Yeah.
Moving into aluminium, does that put the price point up even further?
Well, no. The good news is no, it doesn't, because it's basically a streamlined design. We've got so much experience over the last 5 years. We know what our customers want. We know what they don't want. So we have taken some of the more higher end USPs from the window that weren't really that successful out of it. And we've also streamlined the offering. So basically, for the last 5 years, we've sold anthracite grey windows 95% of the time, and we've sold 5% black windows. So we've got rid of all the colour offerings that we had. We've gone for a powder coat finish on the inside. And that's how we've been able to really reduce the cost. So it's actually our most cost-effective offering that we've ever made.
So, I mean, where's the market been? Because of it, the price point and its look, you'd think that it was probably mostly industrial commercial as being the big appeal. Has it also appealed, though, to the domestic market as well?
You would be surprised where we have fitted Lumi windows. So we have done thatch cottages, we have done schools, we have done replacement windows in suburbia, lots of them, loads of them. We've done castles in Sheffield. So we have done everything. And honestly, I have to tell, I'm not just saying this, there's not one single job you go, that doesn't work. Once it's installed, you always go, no, that works. So, I mean, we literally have done, we've done all the new builds, we've done the big James Bond type of £1 million houses, we've done extensions, we fitted it in so many different scenarios, it's unreal. And that's all across the UK, all across Ireland, and all the Channel Islands, Isle of Man, Orkney. So we have literally fitted every style of house you can think of.
But has that been mostly motivated by architects or builders and things who've said, look, you ought to look at this product?
Yeah, I mean, at the start, certainly the architects were very influential in getting us in front of some clients. However, what we have found is the best way to target the consumer is to go direct. So use the brand, use the imagery, and get the customer coming to us for information first. What we'll do is we then qualify them, see what kind of project they're at, decide if it's one for the trade partners, what geographically where it's going to be, and that's how we would evolve it. But we find the best way. I've always found the best way to go direct to the consumer via advertising. We have done specifications with architects for over 2 years, and you lose it in the last 2 to 10 days before install because they've just gone for a cheaper window. So it's quite a hard route to market with architects, I find.
So, I mean, where does it fit in the whole price thing, which is what it comes down to, I guess, at the end of the day? And you've got PVC windows, you get into flush windows, residence type stuff, and then you move into aluminium. Where does Lumi fit then into that sort of pricing?
So it depends which one we talk about. So if we talk about the new aluminium window, it's our most cost-effective window yet. So we sit on a par with the other major aluminium brands. I've done quite a bit of price comparison. So the brands I'm talking about that are all doing aluminium windows to trade. We sit comfortably with the guys who would the premium offerings. We would be 2.5 times the price of foil PVC, which. Right. So we are, I mean, the original window was 4.5 times the price of foil PVC. The Lumi 2 was about 3 times the price. The aluminium version was cost-effective offering. And I do see it very much as a replacement window and an extension window as much as it could also be a new build window.
So your competition is going to be very much the other aluminium boys, but you've got a completely different look, haven't you?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, being honest, what do people like about Lumi? They like the look. And then the secondary thing was the price. U-values didn't come into it that much, even though the original was designed to be, the be-all and end-all of energy efficiency. Didn't really care, to be honest. U-value wasn't that big an issue, and it really was the look and what's the price. So we've sort of been working back over all these years to have a better price offering. And we've got it now. I have to say it's the best looking window we've ever made because it's got the slimmest sightlines, but it's also the most cost effective.
Are you able to show us anything now?
I actually have windows being installed tomorrow. I do have some, I don't know if you can see there, I have some corner samples on the wall, and we have a brand new advertising campaign. But unfortunately, I don't actually have a sample with me right now.
No, I'm just intrigued as to what you were saying about the thin sight lines.
Yes.
So how slim are they?
So the border now, the original border was about 75 mil. We now are down to 50 mil border. And the frame is exceptionally slim. So our frame, our outer frames start at 52 mil. We then have a 60 mil, and then we have a 72 mil. So we're allowing for 3 different frames on the outside. So, it's very, very slim.
Just thinking about it, when it comes to fitting, I presume that the whole window has to be fitted complete with the glass unit in it when it goes in.
No, so the good news is, again, we've really gone back to what our customers want. So the original window was always a 4-man team. Now it's a 2-man team. So it's dummy sash and friction stays. So whenever you go to install, the glass is out of the frame. The frame is installed with through fix, very much like a replacement window is currently installed. You just have to think of it as a replacement window. All these sashes will come either on friction stays for openers or on blocks and be for dummy sash, and they're screwed from the inside. So the window is installed from the inside. There's no need for scaffolding on the outside, on the new system.
That's worth knowing, isn't it, really? I mean, another time we ought to actually do something with you and look at one being fitted. Get with an installer and actually see that. That would be a good thing to do, actually.
Well, we are actually filming the install tomorrow. So we certainly could get you some nice footage soon. I mean, all the original stuff, because it was new build and self-build, it's always big spans of windows. And you're usually talking 4-man team, scaffolding, and sometimes, Manitous and suckers to maneuver glass. This one has been designed for smaller windows, slim sightlines, but also 2-man teams to install, as opposed to having, lifting gear on site.
That's got to be a big appeal then to your installers, wherever they are.
No, definitely. We looked at our installer model, and most of them are 2 men and a van going to site with their frames in the back, the glass on the side rack per day. We weren't really geared up for that. We would have been delivering whole jobs to site on stillages, needing cranes or forklifts. So we have really refined this offering that we've thought about the installer a lot more, which is we make the sashes smaller, we make the vents smaller, make the dummy sash smaller. And so it's a 2-man team can install this from the inside of the house, no need for scaffolding.
We keep hearing over here about all the problems about getting stuff into Northern Ireland, out of Northern Ireland, and all the rest of it. It's on the news every night. How is that affecting you, and how is that going to affect your customers on the mainland, getting product backwards and forwards? So you've got to get parts and things into Northern Ireland, and then you've got to get product out.
Yeah. Well, we have no problem shipping anywhere to the UK or even to the south. We are delivering as we speak. Getting product in has been a problem. It's been a problem, and it makes it a bit controversial, but a lot of our English suppliers haven't done their homework. So they haven't done the documentation to supply over. We have then been sending our own fleet of trucks over and lifting the product, doing the administration for them and bringing it back to us in the meantime until they get up to speed. Yeah. So now I wouldn't say all of them. I'd say 40–50% just haven't really done the homework. And of that, I would say another 10 or 20% don't really care. They're just like, well, take it or leave it. So we've had to be flexible.
Is it actually difficult for them then, Ace, of the actual paperwork and things? I mean, you've obviously got your head around it if you're effectively doing it for them. Is it something that is not as bad as it sounds once you get into it?
It's not. There is more paperwork. We've been preparing for this for a year. We've always been ahead of the curve. We've done the homework for some of our customers. We just said, look, send your documents to us. We'll fill them in. We'll send them back. You ship your stuff. It's just been that they just are not prepared for it, and they haven't thought about it. Now we've been very proactive. We've emailed them. We've had phone calls. We've done Zooms saying, look, this is what you need to do to ship your goods to us. And most have been pretty good. Some have just been, we're not going to ship anymore to Northern Ireland. So, I mean, it's a bit like my wife orders something from John Lewis. They don't ship here anymore. So, So you just have to take the rough with the smooth. But there's no issues with the supply chain. Anybody who couldn't deliver, we went and collected it. And anybody who was delivering to us, they would have got it via some extra administration, maybe 4 or 5 different documents.
So if I'm a customer or an installer sitting in England, wanting Lumi windows,
yep,
I'll still have the normal lead time and I'll still have the normal delivery schedule.
Absolutely. There's no issue for us. You know, we pre-bought about 3 months worth of stock before Brexit, and we have good supply chain you know, commitments. We probably have bigger issues, and it's nothing to do with Brexit. It's more to do with ports in England, and the backlog due to the PPE would be a bigger issue for us. You know, and it would be things like hardware coming from suppliers again from England, but that's not to do with Brexit. That's to do with the ports, the volumes of containers at ports.
So it's kind of good news then. It's business as usual then for Lumi.
Absolutely, yeah.
And for the rest of your products as well, presumably.
At Pier Doors and Lumi Windows, we are open and ready for business. And to be honest, we've had a good start to the year. Very good start to the year.
Excellent. Asa, many thanks indeed for your time. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Good to talk to you, Chris. I'll see you soon, hopefully.
Thanks, Asa.
Thank
Bye
you.
now.
Cheers. Bye-bye.